Hi guys, today we're going to react to Graveyard Waltz by Hooters. This is a Buy Me a Coffee request from Mice and Men. Thank you, Mice and Men, for yet another request.
Yep, thank you, Mice and Men. We appreciate the support. As always, this should be an interesting one. I've heard this song before many, many years ago, so my memory is not as sharp. And for you, it's the first time, so...
Yeah, don't know the song. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Well, I was walking real fast, I was too scared to run. Past this lonesome graveyard, where the highway meets the sun. Well, that old graveyard's been around since the Civil War. I had a funny feeling that I'd been here before. I heard a voice that was talking real slow. She said it's time to make a choice. Is it yes or is it no? I said okay, do what you wanna do. Then she took me to a world I never knew. Where we danced so close, we were teenage ghosts. We were doing that graveyard waltz. After all is said and done, we were just too young to be doing that graveyard waltz. Graveyard waltz.
Clarifying something that I had no idea was true. I know this song, actually. I just haven't heard it in a long, long time, or not enough to remember what it's called and who played it. I know this song. It's a dark ballad. I love that sound. It's morbid. This is what I would listen to if I were drinking whiskey alone at night, in front of the fireplace after being broken up with a longtime girlfriend, something like that. I love how it starts and how they changed gears. And even though it's morbid and dark and heavy, there's something enchanting about it. It kind of lets you relax and dwell in that darkness without feeling too self-conscious about it.
It draws you in.
Yeah.
As it was playing, I started sort of remembering it more. But the one way of remembering it for me is because whenever people asked me if I knew any songs that are similar in style, in a way, to Hotel California, I always mention this song. And it's not quite the same, but there's some parallels stylistically and in the storytelling theme or the storytelling format, maybe. But yeah, it's dark, but I don't think it's like maybe as dark. It just deals with dark topics.
Yeah.
Dark themes. And I love the voice. When it hits that grit, it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it gets all gravelly, and I just love it. It's got that sort of old style sound to it. And again, very much a storytelling kind of song.
Yeah. We said it about Dan W60. I think we can both agree. But Mice and Men feels to know our taste.
I think so. I think also because we come from sort of similar generations, I guess. We've heard a lot of that older music, so we appreciate it, I think. And this is one of those. It's just a great song. And I was telling you, we were talking about Hooters, about the band earlier, and I mentioned that in my opinion they're one of the sort of more underappreciated kind of bands, very underrated. This song reminds me why.
The next thing I knew, the first dance was done. But this magic carpet ride had just begun. And heaven only knows where she learned to drive. Right between the tombstones and the ones still left alive. And then that old soul band began to play. In triple time, she begging me to stay. And when the masquerade started up again, she said, this is the night that never ends. When we danced so close, we were teenage ghosts. We were doing like graveyard waltz. After all is said and done, we were just too young to be doing like graveyard waltz. Graveyard waltz. Doing like graveyard waltz.
I love how when they changed gears, they changed gears a few times in here. It keeps you on a roller coaster of emotions, but all the emotions are in a spectrum of that morbid vein it has in it, from depression to sadness to the darkness in it. It all has to do with that spectrum. And even when they change gears and amplify the intensity, you're still in that dark place. You just experience it a little bit different. There's a line there that caught my attention. We were just too young to be doing that graveyard waltz. So in my mind, it's about a person who got together with a woman who is herself on a self-destruction path, and she's taking him down with her. It's either drug-related or some depression, which will inevitably end with their demise. So he's singing about how he's caught in that moment, and it's possibly too late to stop for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Graveyard Waltz, the waltz is a dance, and they're basically joined together in this dance that is more likely than not take their lives.
Yeah.
The line that actually ended up putting me there was when he says, heaven only knows where she learned to drive. And it's like, yeah, that could be kind of a metaphor or whatever, but it could be also literal, that they're in a car and she's driving where you know it's going to lead them to either off a cliff or into a tree or something like that, because that's kind of where their night is going. So I think the graveyard is just really sort of a metaphor for death. And that's what they're doing. They're doing a dance of death. This waltz that they're on is obviously going to lead them down a very, very dark path. I mean, we only get it from his side and not from hers, but he has some doubts and some fear about where it's headed, even though he knows, and he agreed to it, because there was a point earlier where she asks him for an answer. She said, yeah, it's time to make a choice. Is it yes or is it no? So it gives you the story where it sounds like he's at some graveyard and he's visited by a ghost or something like that. But I think they're both either just before an accident or maybe even just after one, where he is still alive, but he is in that limbo purgatory type, where he has to make a choice of whether he wants to live or if he wants to go with her into the unknown, I guess. It's multi-layered in that way because it could go every which way out of those options, which is really, really interesting.
I tend to agree with the latter, what you said. It's a dance. So it's something that she at least willfully engages in. That's why I had it in my mind to say depression is something that's deliberate. She's on a self-destructive path, something that didn't just happen to them, something that she may have wanted to happen. You said maybe they're after an accident or something that is threatening to take their lives, and he's right now in a limbo between life and death. So that's the waltz part. They're on the brink between life and death.
Yeah, and it's almost like she's seducing him in a way to go with her, and he is aware, and he kind of chooses to go, but he is reluctant, which is really, really interesting. So it's like he says it in one line, in triple time, she was begging me to stay. So it's like he wanted to leave. He wanted to maybe stay alive, come back to the living, but she was convincing him in one way or another. And then before he could make a decision, she pulled him back again. And when the masquerade had started again, she said this was the night that never ends, where we danced so close, we were teenage ghosts, we were doing that graveyard waltz. After all is said and done, we were just too young to be doing that graveyard waltz. So we were too young to die, but this is still where we ended up. So it's just really dark and sad because you feel that fear and reluctance in him to go, but it's almost left a little bit open-ended where you don't know if he ended up dying or not. Very well written, I think.
Yeah, there's also a sinister element to it because she's trying to take him with her, so she knows what she's doing, and also she has a power over him. Even though he's reluctant, he plays along. It feels like she has a grip on him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's so sinister. It's just a matter of, I think she just doesn't want to go alone, or she wants him to be with her forever kind of thing. It's multi-layered, and I just love that about these types of songs.
Yeah, I do too.
Very, very cool.
I was walking real fast, I was too scared to run.
I love how that last line comes into it at the end, and it almost potentially tells us that he chose life.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, but it's ambiguous enough for us, to be able to argue about this, or to not be sure. And I think this whole thing represents death and the fear of the unknown, because it leaves it open-ended. It leaves a lot of questions for us to ask. It raises all these curious thoughts about there's something after death, which is really interesting because that's how people feel about death. We don't know what lies beyond. We're afraid of it. And the song deals with both, with two characters, one who isn't afraid of it and one who is.
one who welcomes it.
Yeah. So it's really, really cool. I just love the way it's put together. Awesome track.
What you said about that last line kind of had me thinking that he's exactly where he started. He was walking real fast. He was too afraid to run. As he pushed away from that, that's what happened in my head. As he pushed away from that person who is obligated to their own demise.
Yeah, walking away, he was like too scared to run because he thought he would be chased in a way. So
Yeah.
if he walks away, he might be able to get away. That line about we were just too young to be doing that graveyard waltz, he decided I'm too young to die. I might be afraid of death, and death is inevitable and it'll come eventually, but it doesn't have to come now. And I think that's ultimately where it all sort of came to at the end. But also musically, it's just so bluesy and, like that rock, smoky blues rock kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just gorgeous. Added with that gravelly voice, and it's got that, was it like a saxophone or a trumpet or something that came in at certain points? It's just a beautifully put together song, I think.
It's a song you would listen to if you were stranded on a boat in the middle of the ocean under the moonlight.
Yeah, it's very contemplative. So
Yeah.
it's also like I could see this being played at a young person's funeral or group of people after losing somebody who was young. It just kind of makes sense in that way. It's sad, but also there's like a positive vein to it in the way, it ends. Very cool. Thanks, Mice and Men. You did it again. This is a great choice.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Thanks a lot, Mice and Men. We appreciate it very much. You chose another one that got under our skin. If you enjoyed this episode, guys, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and click the little bell icon so you'll get notified on all our future videos. If you have a request you'd like bumped up the line, please make it through Buy Me a Coffee. All contributions are, of course, very much appreciated. Thank you all for sticking with us. Thank you all for your time.
She does it like it's nothing, because a few weeks ago I saw them live in Melbourne. So she did this on stage, just freaking amazing. One of my favorite shows of late. They just have so much energy, and the way she does this, it's seamless. It's just like in the clips. There's nothing else to it. She just switches from one voice to another. No problem whatsoever. Thanks again, guys. We appreciate you more than you know. As always, without you, there would be no show. So please come back. We'll be here in a couple of days with a new episode, and we hope to see you then. Thanks, guys. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.